Previously on Angel Star. It was kind of obvious we'd talk about the next game in the 3D Mario series. Yeah, I can see why people say it's the worst 3D Mario game of all time, but that's still impressive if you think about it. 2 down, 1 to go, and I'm very excited because next time is going to be the third and final part of the 3D All-Stars pack, and my personal favorite, Super Mario Galaxy. Today is March 31st, the last day to get the Super Mario 3D All-Stars pack. Maybe it's been all a giant April Fool's joke, hopefully, but considering this is a Nintendo, probably not. You probably have already seen my first 2 episodes on Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine. If you have not, I recommend checking those out. And at long last, we're finally about to talk about the third and final game of the trilogy, Super Mario Galaxy. So, without further ado, let's get started. Let's start off, of course, with more Nintendo history. Nintendo was yet again working on innovating in the next generation of gaming, with their first success being the Nintendo DS, which was so successful it practically printed money. And of course, Nintendo was going through more experimentation in their gaming. Nintendo thought the next big step in gaming would be motion controls, and eventually was known as the Nintendo Revolution, and eventually known as the Nintendo Wii. And one of the few games that was advertised to come to the Nintendo Wii was, of course, Super Mario and his next 3D adventure, which was Super Mario Galaxy, which it launched in November 1st of 2007, roughly around a year after the Nintendo Wii launched. Just because Mario was the face of Nintendo doesn't mean that they always had to launch every new Nintendo game with the Italian plumber. And boy, was this game a phenomenon. And yeah, throughout most of this video, I'm going to show my bias on this, and I don't care. I think Mario Galaxy is the best Mario game of all time. Even better than Super Mario Odyssey. Nothing against Odyssey, I think it's a really amazing game too, but I just love Mario Galaxy more. And I guess we should probably explain why by, well, talking about the game. Our tale of the Mushroom Kingdom begins during the Star Festival, an event that happens once every 100 years where a blue comet comes across the Mushroom Kingdom, raining down both Power Stars and a new item known as Star Bits, which I'll get to later. Just like in Mario 64 fashion, Peach actually sends an invitation via letter for Mario to come over to the castle. However, it's not long until Princess Peach is captured by Bowser in the most theatrical way possible. I mean, look at this! This is probably one of the big things I really like about the beginning of Mario Galaxy. It's full-fledged theatrical. When you usually think about most Mario games and Bowser kidnapping Princess, Mario's usually like, oh no, here we go again, son of a bitch. Here, he goes full-fledged bad guy mode. Not just kidnapping Princess Peach, but even taking her entire castle to space. And even sending Mario flying into the cosmos. Well, technically it's a Magic Koopa, but you get the idea. There's just so much spectacle in the cutscenes in this game. Oh my god, it's so good. Even though Mario is lost in space, he also comes across a bunch of little creatures known as Lumas, which are little star people, who actually know someone who will actually help Mario on his adventure to save Peach in the center of the universe. And that character is one of the newest and most iconic characters of the series, Rosalina. Of course, being somewhat of a princess of the galaxy. Rosalina will help Mario as well as this other little Luma that Peach was supposed to give Mario, giving Mario the ability to power spin. However, for Rosalina to help Mario get to Bowser's lair in the center of the universe and save Princess Peach, she needs both Power Stars and Grand Power Stars in order to help navigate through galaxy to galaxy. Because it turns out that Bowser has actually taken all of the Power Stars from Rosalina's Comet Observatory, which is why he's capable of traversing from galaxy to galaxy, making his Koopa army take over literally the entire universe. There are 2 types of collectibles in Mario Galaxy, both regular Power Stars, which work similar to the Power Stars in Mario 64, and the Shine Sprites in Mario Sunshine. You go to a specific galaxy, do a specific mission, get the power star, and then come back. And then there are the grand power stars, which are like the keys in Mario 64. Once when you defeat a specific boss, they help you actually navigate from world to world and help expand the hub world, which is the Comet Observatory, which are vastly needed to, beat the game. And of course, as I say about most hub worlds, yeah, the Comet Observatory is great. When it comes to navigation wise, it's not the best one, but from aesthetic and of course the music, it is probably my favorite. The Comet Observatory acts like a house, because it is technically home of the Lumas. Each of the little hub areas that take you to different galaxies are basically based off these little areas. There's the terrace, there's the fountain, there's the kitchen, there's the library, more on that one later. My personal favorite is the garden, because you think it's just a small little area, but it's just a big, empty area full of grass. I'm like, holy moly, this is inside an observatory? The Comet Observatory to me is like being in a planetarium, which I think Nintendo was kind of going for with this hub world, and it works really well for the structure of the game. I guess I forgot to mention how Mario plays this time, but then again, it's practically the same like in the last two games. Mario can do a triple jump, wall jump, the long jump's back, and there are two new gimmicks this time around for Mario. One of which is the power spin, which Mario can do by shaking the Wiimote, or shaking the Joy-Con, or pressing the Y button, surprisingly. And the second new ability is collecting star bits, which is the secondary collectible in this game. The collecting in this game is vastly different from the original, mostly because back in the old games you could usually collect 100 coins and get a power star, or a shine sprite. However, not this time around. Coins are more useful for health purposes and have no use whatsoever. Star bits, however, are more of a currency. You see a reticle used from the Wii remote to actually catch star bits. If you get 50, you get an automatic 1-up. However, unlike coins where they reset how many coins you collected, star bits can also be stored up into like a bank. This is mostly because of all the worlds that are in the game. In the last two videos I mentioned I would talk about all the worlds in the game and give my general purpose, but with Mario Galaxy that's a little tricky. There are many upon many different galaxies. Some of them are just one-offs, some of them are just multitudes. Some of them have secret power stars. There's just so many you talk about, I just don't want to really bother with it. It's one of the times I'm going to say you have to play for yourself to experience a lot of the galaxies in this game. And a lot of them are just generally entertaining. Though a lot of them still use the same assets to navigate from world to world, or even use the same backgrounds and designs and characters, but they still feel unique enough to make up for their own worlds. And not to mention, if you think about it in Mario Galaxy terms, the universe is a big place. And there are tons of new Mario-based characters, such as the Bee People, including the Big Bee Queen, also the introduction of the newest power-up, the Bee Mushroom, which turns Mario into Bee Mario, insert Bee Movie joke here. There's also the Boo Mushroom, which turns Mario into Boo Mario, which gives you a very fun Luigi's Mansion joke, which I should also mention Luigi is also in this game, but more on that later. There's also the return of the Fire Flower, which you use to throw fireballs. There's also the new Ice Flower, which turns you into Ice Mario, where you can make ice platforms on water and even skate on ice, which is really cool. And lastly, the Spring Mushroom, which turns you into a Spring Mario. A lot of people are not really a big fan of this one. It's not that bad, but it's also not that good either. There's also the Red Power Star upgrade, which is only useful in the hub world and one mission. But it helps navigating through the hub world a little more easier, I'll generally say. Now, of course, just like in Mario Sunshine and Mario 64, every galaxy has roughly around 1 to 3 or even more power stars, depending on the missions. Of course, there's ones where you have to defeat specific bosses, there's ones where you have to get to a specific goal, there's some that are even hidden by hungry Lumas that you have to give to star bits, that'll give you a trip to another galaxy. And also, there are the Comet Stars, which have a variety of missions, such as a one-hit don't die mission, timed mission, which gives you a certain amount of time to beat the level, there's Cosmic Mario races, and the legendary Purple Coin mission, where you have to collect all the purple coins, which has probably one of my favorite soundtracks that I kind of wish it was in Super Smash Bros. Then again, there are just so many great songs in Mario Galaxy. Mario Galaxy's soundtrack is just borderline amazing. This is mostly because this was one of the first time the Mario soundtrack has ever been orchestrated. Most Mario games usually involve digital audio. This was the first ever Mario game to ever introduce orchestrated music. And it definitely has a major impact in the gameplay. I mean, listen to a lot of the songs in this game. The music is one of the major parts of Mario Galaxy that adds a lot of the emphasis of how big this game is. I'm probably gonna get a copyright strike for this, but I don't care. I really love the music in this game. I guess I should also mention the differences between the Switch and the classic Wii edition. I was actually going to mention the differences between the control systems back between Mario Sunshine, but they patched that out a while back, so I didn't really bother on it. I actually played the game both with the Joy-Cons and the Pro Controller. Though in all honesty, I do prefer the Joy-Con version because it gives me that Mario Galaxy feel and I feel like it works a lot better. But when it comes to the Pro Controller, it's still not bad. Pressing the Y button to spin is very helpful, especially if you have a Switch Mini. And I will generally say, it actually makes some missions surprisingly easy, such as the ball rolling, the manta racing, and you can also use the touchscreen to collect shine sprites or even help navigate through the levels, such as the bubble mission. I still enjoy the Wiimote nunchuck gameplay, and the Joy-Cons do an amazing job, and even though the reticle can sometimes get a little lost at times, by pressing the right trigger, it'll actually automatically reset to the center, and honestly, it got a little annoying at first, but after playing for a while, you actually get really used to it, and it actually made collecting star bits much easier than it did in the Wii version. There is just so much to Mario Galaxy that I can just genuinely praise. I don't really have much negative to say about it. There's just so many things that are iconic to Mario Galaxy that eventually became part of the Mario games. This was the introduction to the Toad Brigade, which eventually became Captain Toad. Luigi got to be more part of the Mario series, where you have to find Luigi in specific missions. And if you 100% complete the game, getting all 121 power stars, you can play the game again, this time as Luigi, in the term Super Luigi's Galaxy. This also showed so much of the stuff that was part of the original 3D Mario games that improved upon yet again in Galaxy, such as the live collection system back in N64. They do give you more lives, but you can lose them more easily like in Sunshine, but when you start a new game, you do get them reset, but there is a Toad that sends you a letter from Princess Peach that gives you 5 lives, and you can choose whether or not to collect them or not, to add more of a challenge for yourself. And last but not least, I think one of the best things that was added to the Mario universe, Rosalina. Hear me out on this one. I know there are generally people who don't like Rosalina, but I think she is an amazing addition to the Mario series, mostly because she's probably one of the most developed Mario characters in this series, period. Eventually making Rosalina one of the most iconic characters in the Mario series, and even appearing in Super Smash Bros. As a playable character along with Luma, well before Daisy. Rosalina made a major impact as a new character in the Mario universe, and I think it's because a lot of people can really like her because we got to know more about her. Because unlike most Mario characters, Rosalina has a backstory. As you progress through most of the Mario game, you unlock an area known as the Library. If you go in at specific times, Rosalina will actually be telling a nice little story to Lumas. And a lot of people have theorized this already, but apparently this might be Rosalina's origins. And honestly, it's a very emotional story. Rosalina was a young girl who lost her mother at a young age, and one day she finds a Luma that crash lands on her planet and is looking for his mama. Understanding how the Luma feels, she helps the Luma traverse through the galaxy in order to find his mama. Over time, their bond actually grows to the point that they become family, and eventually more Luma started coming and becoming part of that bigger family. However, Rosalina still feels homesick and misses so much of her home that she eventually goes into tears. It's emotionally heartbreaking because sometimes we can all understand what it means to lose family and say goodbye to all the things that was our home. It's one of the hardest things about growing up. The story eventually ends with the Luma that Rosalina met turning it into the Blue Comet, which eventually became the Comet Observatory. So every 100 years, Rosalina can still see her home, which is apparently the Mushroom Kingdom. It's an emotional story that I think is really deep, and it's one of the most impactful stories in a Mario game. Most Mario games, with the exception of the early Paper Mario games, are not really known for their story. It's always the hero who tries to rescue the princess. But when Nintendo wants to really add impactful stories about characters, and if Nintendo ever did a deep story, the Mario series, I think it'd probably be one of the best written Mario games of all time. Well, next to the Thousand Year Door. Then again, I've just been chatting so long, so how about we just end this video? By talking about the last part. The final battle between Bowser. Well, actually, I should mention the previous boss fights before you do that. There are a good handful of bosses, though a lot of people don't like some of them. Like, I know people prefer PD Piranha over Dino Piranha. I think a lot of the bosses are really over-the-top amazing. The first boss is bigger than the planet you're on, and you have to climb him in order to fight him. Bowser Jr. also returns for a rematch against Mario, and you also fight Bowser a couple of times before the end game. And when you get to the final galaxy in the center of the universe to face Bowser, it is a gauntlet. It uses everything you've learned from all the Mario games in the galaxies with the exception of the power-ups, and it puts your platforming skills to the test. And when you finally see that center of the universe, you take down Bowser one last time. And this boss fight is just a spectacle. It's a real general challenge, too. Of course, Bowser kind of fights the same in all three fights, but they're a lot more impactful and a lot more different every single time. Bowser has a few new tricks up his sleeves, and also brings more challenge to the fight. And when you get to the final phase, oh, the orchestra definitely shows the impact of what that fight is. Just listen to it. Personally, I would like to keep fighting Bowser just so I can hear that orchestra. And one of the upsides about the 3D All-Stars, you can just listen to the entire soundtrack of the Mario games, even though that's the only edition of the series. After defeating Bowser, who gets literally launched into the sun, you get the last Grand Power Star, you save Princess Peach, but as a major surprise, a black hole appears sucking everyone up. But the little Luma that was part of your journey sacrifices himself and saves everyone. There are a lot of different theories on what happened. Either that the universe was reset and everything's back to normal, or everyone technically died and the universe was recreated and everyone's now living together in peace, which eventually made the Mario Kart, Mario sports games into the lore, and how they all became good friends now. It's definitely up to interpretation. Everyone is back in the Mushroom Kingdom, everything's back to normal, and Mario ends the game saying,
"Welcome! Welcome, new galaxy!"
Of course, that's not the end of the game. If you 100% the game, you can also play the game again as Luigi. And if you collect all 121 Power Stars from his game, you just get the gratification of knowing you just beat the entire game twice, this time with Luigi, and you also get a thank you card, this time with both Luigi and Rosalina. Normally, I wasn't a big fan of the congratulation 100% of Mario 64 and Sunshine, but playing Galaxy, it's just its own reward in itself. Mostly because all of the missions are not terrible. Normally there's like one mission that I generally don't like, or multitude of them, like in Sunshine. Mario Galaxy has a mission structure that doesn't feel boring or repetitive or stale or bad. Even though they do reuse missions and Comet ones, they do add more of a challenge, making the replayability just as entertaining. In conclusion, I think Mario Galaxy is the most perfect 3D Mario game ever created. Again, nothing against Odyssey, I just think Galaxy just does a lot of things right that it tended to do. Odyssey definitely has a lot of the great missions and challenge and all that type of stuff, but to collect all 999 Power Stars is mostly just basically getting over 100 coins and then buying them at the shop. Plus, this might be my personal opinion too, but Mario Galaxy feels like the last Mario game. What I mean is, when you see the theatricalness that is the cutscenes in the game, the major big adventure, the massive replayability, the deep impactful story arc of Rosalina, and the fact that how the game ends could eventually lead to the timeline of the side party games, Mario Galaxy feels like, in a timeline-wise, the last Mario adventure. I know I wasn't going to talk about Mario Galaxy 2, mostly because it wasn't part of the 3D All-Stars pack. I just want to say this about Galaxy 2. Even though the game does improve upon some situations, but definitely downgraded on other things from Galaxy, the impact that Mario Galaxy had with its story and gameplay compared to the sequel makes me still prefer the first one over the second one. And even though Odyssey definitely has a major impact in the gameplay wise, as well as a really cool introduction, I still love coming back to Mario Galaxy. So, after looking at all three games, what do I generally think of the 3D Mario All-Stars? Yeah, I kinda wish this wouldn't be a limited time thing either. Looking back on all three of these games, you can definitely see Nintendo's history into the 3D era of Mario. You got to see how Mario became a bigger name in the industry, and even reinvent platforming. into the 3D era. With its early beginnings in clunky old controls and polygon style, to its experimental phase, adding new ideas and messing up on certain situations and forgetting what made the original perfect, and then improving upon what you did last time and making the perfect 3D platformer. Eventually, 3D Mario games became more and more accessible, with 3D Land, 3D World, Odyssey, as I mentioned before, being the most recent new title of the series. It is generally a shame that they didn't add more stuff, like maybe a library or maybe like some video footage of like the history of Nintendo, or even some really cool concept art that I've actually seen of the Mario series online or from Digino Gaming. I still say it's a really great collection. I highly recommend getting it before it's gone forever. Because in all honesty, it's really hard to even get the original trilogy. I can't say much for the Nintendo Wii version. N64 and GameCube games are getting harder and harder to collect for gamers nowadays, and they usually go for astronomical prices. With N64, you can get knockoff versions of the cartridges that work just fine, but sometimes they don't feel the same. The 3D Mario All-Stars is a major part of Mario's history, and is a big recommendation to people who are major fans of the 3D Mario games. But I generally say do not buy scalped versions where they charge you an astronomical price. Hopefully this was a big April Fool's joke by Nintendo, but when we were all suckers for buying it, even the scalpers, so sorry about that one, guys. And with that, we are officially done talking about the 3D Mario All-Stars. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you want to keep checking out my content, you can just subscribe and ring the bell for notifications when new videos come out. I'm really glad I actually did a look back on all three of these games, mostly because they mean a major part of me and my love for 3D platformers. And no, this doesn't mean I'll be doing a Mario Month video like other YouTube channels, or even doing reviews of 3D platform games. Well, not all the time. But I feel like this was a big deal to me because this was a major part of my childhood growing up. And seeing Mario evolve into the big name character he is, even being bigger than Mickey Mouse, I'm really glad that Nintendo still makes amazing Mario games to this very day. If there ever comes a time when we have to say goodbye to Nintendo or our favorite Italian plumber, let's never forget all the great times we had playing his games. Because that's all we ever wanted from Super Mario, to always have fun. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.